It's time for Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. Todd Marquardt, attorney at law in Texas. If you're a millionaire or a thousandaire, Talk Law Radio is now on the air. Call in with your business law question, your elder law question, veteran aid, Medicaid, build a business to get paid. 210-308-8867. Or ask a question online at marquardtlawfirm.com. That's MARQUARDT lawfirm.com. And now it's Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. Ronnie Suarez is here with us, and you're on KLUP 930 AM, 630 KSLR, KNTH 1070 in Houston, and 103.3 FM in Houston also. Facebook Live, YouTube, podcasts everywhere, and talklawradio.com. I'm Todd Marquardt, and joining us today on Talk Law Radio is Ronnie Suarez and George Torres, who are going to be wearing the fancy uniform for Rey Feo. They're members of the Rey Feo Consejo. See,
Educational Foundation.
I'm a gringo. Spanish wasn't my first language. Educational Foundation from the legendary Ugly King tradition.
Correct.
To raise millions for college scholarships for San Antonio high school seniors. You'll hear how this historic organization blends Fiesta culture with real community impact. But first, let's check in with the Financial Focus with Steve Warren with Financial Planning HQ. Steve and his sons are true financial planners. They don't sell investments or insurance. They just provide a planning service that helps financially successful people reach their financial goals with less time and stress. So their successful clients can do what they really want to do without having to deal with money managers, lawyers, and CPAs who don't communicate well with one another. Steve, welcome back to the show.
Great to be here, Todd. Thank you.
Was that an accurate explanation of an intro for you?
Yeah, since we've been doing this for a couple of months now, you're starting to get it, so I appreciate that.
Steve, last week we ended with a question. We ended with a description of what a meeting is like with you, an initial meeting. And we also talked about the 5 planning domains: tax, legal, wealth management, financial planning, and risk planning. And you gave our audience some insights into the importance of having a written financial plan. But can we talk about money management today?
Yeah, absolutely. But first, I'd like to encourage your audience to go to your YouTube channel, Talk Law Radio, and listen to the last 2 Financial Focus segments that were on April 4th and 11th, because one segment builds on the other, and I think it'll help your audience just to have more context to what I'm going to talk about today. So, yeah, so your question had to do with money management, and let's talk about it.
What should our audience ask their financial advisors about money management?
The first thing they should ask is whether or not they have an investment policy statement. And it's a formal strategic document that it serves as a roadmap or a business plan, if you will, for managing an investment portfolio. And it outlines the investor's goals, strategies, and the specific rules that must be followed by those that are managing the money, the portfolio managers or financial advisors.
What if there's no written IPS, as you abbreviate?
Your audience deserves one, Todd. I would say in most cases there isn't something that's written. There isn't a written investment policy statement. But it probably means that your financial advisor has never provided you with a comprehensive written lifetime financial strategy. And so if you think back about when you first started your relationship with your current advisor, it's possible that you filled out a risk tolerance questionnaire. And then from there, the advisor helped you to organize a portfolio and gave you some stocks, some fixed income, maybe some real assets in the portfolio. And there's just much more to it than that. So if it was a form, then I wouldn't be surprised, as far as why there isn't an investment policy statement. But, there's no textbook answer for everybody. Everybody is different. So just like a custom suit, it's not one size fits all. And so there's a big difference between filling out a risk tolerance questionnaire and actually having an investment policy statement that is written. And within that statement, one of the most important features would be for a person to know what their hurdle rate is. And hurdle rate is the rate of return that you have to get after taxes, after fees, net of fees, taxation and inflation. So it's the rate of return that you have to get in order to realize your financial goals. And so if there aren't written goals and there's no hurdle rate, you're just investing money. It's just wealth management. And
right.
It doesn't have a purpose.
Well, can you explain the term hurdle rate in more detail?
Yeah. So the hurdle rate, if we relate it to an actual comprehensive written lifetime financial strategy, it would be the rate of return that you would need net of fees and taxation and inflation in order to reach your financial objectives, which the client, tells us what those are.
Right. And so if our financial advisor isn't talking to us about our hurdle rate, what should they do?
Well, they should give me a call for one thing and maybe be exposed to a different way of doing things. And my name is Steve Warren, and I can be reached at 210-685-2722.
What's another great question that we should be asking our financial advisor?
One of the things that I find out from a lot of people is that they have no clue as to what they're paying in fees. So that's probably a good question to ask. And so what exactly am I paying in dollars and cents, not just a percentage. So, think about this to your audience out there. If you actually wrote a check to your financial advisor, like we do to the IRS, right? We're just past tax time here. Mm-hmm. But if you actually wrote a check to your financial advisor once a quarter, because fees are typically taken out once a quarter, and you actually wrote the check for $8,000 every quarter, then you would know. But most people just don't know. And I think your audience deserves to know what they're paying. And that way they can think about, well, what am I getting for what I'm paying? Is it just wealth management? Because
usually the fee just comes out of their investments and they don't see it clearly.
Yeah. Yeah. And, if your audience actually wrote the check, instead of having it come out like that, then that would lead us towards, well, what's the real return that I'm getting on because I'm sure your audience goes in for performance reviews and they look at a return, but what is the real return net of fees and taxation and inflation? What's the real number?
Well, some of those statements are confusing and difficult to figure out. Could they bring their statements to you and ask you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we handle client statements with finesse, and we're able to take a look at them and determine, what they're paying in fees and do forensic accounting.
And if they want that, how can they reach you?
Give me a call at 210-685-2722.
I have a surprise question for you, Steve.
Super fantastic.
I'm going to the Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger were famous for taking questions from the audience of shareholders. If you had a question to ask the new CEO, Greg Abel, what would you ask?
Gosh, I guess I would want to know what kind of insight that, his particular firm has as far as, where the market is going, not necessarily based on where it's been, but there's so many things that we can't control, like the war that's going on and taxation. There's a lot of things out of our control, but for those things that you can control, how do you guys foresee the market moving forward based on economic data and things that about lobbyists, at the White House, all these different factors that come into play?
Yeah.
Interest rates, the Fed, all this stuff.
It's fun to watch. It's also on TV, CNBC, so you should check that out. But this is the first year that Warren Buffett's not CEO. He stepped down last year. He's still going to be chairman of the board, but Greg Abel is going to be the CEO. And so I'm really excited to see what's changed.
Yeah. Well, hopefully nothing's changed because he was so successful for so long.
Yeah, and that's what he did say in the shareholder letter.
Yeah.
But it's just fun to see all the other investors, and they have this big stadium filled with all of the companies that are pieces of his company. He owns all these other companies like Geico and Fruit of the Loom, and I like to get souvenirs that have some catchy phrase or photo of Warren Buffett on it.
I know he's really big in property and casualty. Todd, I was just thinking about one thing. I'm thinking about a particular client because you mentioned planning domains. And I audited a client's a couple of days ago tax return and the partnership return. And I was able to uncover an additional $4,000 in a tax refund. And so we do that sort of thing all the time because we provide oversight to a large degree. So anyone in the audience, if you'd like to give me a call, Steve Warren at 210-685-2722.
Thank you for the financial focus. We got to take a break. We'll be right back with Ronnie Suarez and George Torres with the Rey Feo Consejo?
The Rey Feo Consejo Educational Foundation.
Awesome. Are you confident about your financial future? What if you had a clear financial roadmap and a team holding you accountable to make the best financial decisions no matter what? At Financial Planning HQ, Steve and his sons, Joseph and Jacob, have been helping San Antonio families since 1987 with inspiring, intelligent financial strategies. Whether it's achieving or maintaining financial independence, becoming more tax efficient, or building business wealth, we create a comprehensive, written lifetime financial strategy that's uniquely yours, based entirely on what's important to you. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Call Financial Planning HQ today at 210-685-2722. That's 210-685-2722. And take the first step towards financial clarity. That's Financial Planning HQ, inspiring financial strategies for San Antonio. Remember, 210-685-2722. What if you couldn't speak for yourself? A power of attorney ensures someone you trust can act on your behalf. I'm attorney Todd Marquardt. Let's put your plan in place now. Schedule your free consultation at marquardtlawfirm.com or call 210-530-4278. That's 210-530-4278. Do it before you die. Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. Today we're going to be talking with these gentlemen, Ronnie Suarez and George Torres. They're with the Rey Feo Consejo.
There you go.
Educational Foundation. And George, you've been on the show a couple of times before. You operate River City Home Care. And so I'm glad to have you back. You were a great guest, and you and I had lunch the other day and we talked about what was going on. And when you told me that you were involved in this organization, it didn't hit me right away, or I would have asked you to start planning to be on the show then. And I only got the idea this week because I'm preparing for a seminar I'm going to give to older people about taking care of their grandchildren by leaving them an inheritance. And a lot of grandparents think about education, that they don't want their grandkids just to buy cars and waste the money frivolously. And so then I was reading in the news about Rey Feo, and it's Fiesta. And so all of this is really relevant. Would you just help me introduce Ronnie Suarez to the program?
Absolutely. Well, Viva Fiesta.
Yes.
And Viva Rey Feo. We're proud members of the Rey Feo Educational Foundation. I've been blessed to be part of the organization for going up on a decade now. So back in 2016 is when we get our sashes, and that's how we become official. The organization itself is made up of kind of different segments. There can be some confusion at times as to, well, who are the guys in the white suits? Who are the guys in the black suits? Well, the men in black are the ones that help support the guys in the white suits, ultimately.
Okay.
And I had been originally exposed to Rey Feo. Gosh, I remember back in, having visits when I was in elementary, middle school.
Really?
Back in the Sonny Melindra's days, if you know that talk radio show host.
Yeah.
Our radio personality, and also back when it was Logan Stewart. So he was helping. He was very instrumental in finding the purpose of the organization and putting it together. So really, Rey Feo has been a true instrumental piece in Fiesta, and we're in the literal sense known as the Ugly King. Purpose of it is certainly for scholarships for deserving students in and around the San Antonio area. And we've been able to raise close to well above $10 million.
Over 11 million now.
Oh, wow.
To date, over 11 million with 7,000 scholarships given out.
Okay, so Ronnie, in your day job, you run a business called Integrity Roofing and Siding.
Exactly.
How did you get involved in this, Rey Feo?
Well, I got involved with this because of friends of mine that were involved already. John Gary Herrera, who was Rey Feo 67, Thomas Aguillon, Rey Feo 72, even some of the others. I've just been good friends with them, and they've been saying, come on, get involved with this organization. It's a great organization. It's a way to give back, to make a difference, and help people. And I'm all about that. We've grown our business for the last 20 years now. 21 years old is our business, Integrity Roofing and Siding. And so we really feel like a deep responsibility to give back and to do something for our community, because we feel everyone should have that responsibility to give back. And so that's what I love so much about this organization, is because it's about education, and we know educational is the great equalizer. It's very important for the future of our city, future of leaders of San Antonio. We really want them to be educated. And so scholarships are very important to us.
Yeah, I think that education is so important. If nobody's educating the public, then that's going to be the downfall of our society.
Exactly.
And so if we can help people pay for higher education, then that puts them on a path.
Definitely. The great thing about our organization as well is we've expanded. Now we're giving out trade school and trade vocational and trade school degrees, which is incredible, because the trades there's a high demand for that, especially in my industry, construction. And so we started that in 2025, and so we gave out $400,000 to trade schools.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have met with friends probably throughout the last 10 years. I mean, it's not a new problem, the shortage of trades. There was a guy that had a plumbing company that was a member of my Rotary Club, and he was just always complaining about not being able to find anyone.
Yes, it's true. In fact, we've seen numbers where a lot of the young students nowadays, they don't always go to a college or a university. So they find a trade, like whether it's nursing or, like you said, electrical plumbing. There's so many. There's 136 different ways to get a scholarship for a trade with the Rey Feo Scholarship Foundation.
And so
there are so many options.
How do they find that opportunity? Is it through their high school counselor?
They can do it through that. We can give you our website, the website they can go to, and they can apply. Right now, we just got a record amount of scholarships in, recipients, applications rather, 1,500. Usually it's over 1,000. I mean, it's continuing to grow, over the years because of the awareness that's out there. And so we've had a record 1,500 this year. So now we have to get to going in and, looking at all those applications and reviewing them.
Awesome.
And giving those scholarships out.
Our deadline was March 31st.
Okay, for people to apply.
Yeah, that's already closed out for this year, but we can definitely start to accept applications sometime in the fall for the following year.
Okay, and how can people help?
Well, we're constantly raising money. So we have various fundraising events that directly go towards the scholarship raising or raising funds for scholarship.
What are those events?
We have a multitude of events that will be coming up next year.
Yeah, when there's a Rey Feo, right now it's Rey Feo 77. It's Dr. Damaso Oliva. He's doing a fantastic job. He's got it's the most energy I've seen. He is just having such a good time, and he's going to raise some money. And so he has his own events, signature events that he's had throughout the year. It's not just during Fiesta. It's a year-round fundraising effort that we have. There's such a gap with the number of applicants that come in and the number that we're able to give. It's based on how much money we can raise. Right. And so there's a big gap that we're trying to close every single year. And so hopefully with the last few years, we've really started to raise over $1 million. We raised over $1 million in 2023. Then 2024, it was over $1 million again. So we're really trying to continue growing so we can give out more scholarships.
Right. Well, what's the event that's coming up?
Well, we've got Fiesta de los Reyes that's coming up, and that's our 10-day event. So definitely, come out to Market Square and help support, because every bit of that will help to go towards scholarships.
Well, what if somebody's out there that's never been? Be more specific. Where do we go, and where do we park, and when does it start?
Ride sharing is highly encouraged because parking is a challenge down there.
Okay.
You can get down to Market and right off of 35. I'll get you the specific address in the next part of the segment.
Okay.
But everybody, or you can Google Market Square.
Right.
It is definitely a very eventful, experience. We have numerous bands that will be out there, and a vast array of food and drinks.
Okay.
And security, we're definitely going to be having high level of security as well for the safety of everyone.
Is it just for people that want to go late at night, or is this something that families can bring their kids to?
Families can definitely go. Definitely.
When is the best time for families to go?
Probably during the day. I believe it opens up at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. in the morning. Mm-hmm. And so it's actually free during the week, Monday through Thursday, up until 6 o'clock, until 6 p.m. And then in the evening, 6 p.m., it's a $5 fee. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, it's free up until 1 o'clock.
Okay.
In the afternoon.
And on Monday, we have our Military Monday Appreciation. So for all of our listeners that are out there, all the veterans, all the active military, please take advantage of that, because there's substantial discounts to be able to go in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and
for sure.
with all the vendors.
Okay. And so who are the vendors? What do they have?
Oh, we have, let's see, everything from hamburgers to fajitas to flautas.
You ever had tribas? That's be a good one for you to try.
No, I will.
Yeah, there's some really, really great food. It's very authentic, and it's a lot of heritage and culture. There's so many. There's probably 100 or more vendors out there that are serving all kinds of great food. It's incredible. It's an experience you need to have for yourself.
Definitely.
Aguas Frescas.
Oh,
you can get any Coke products, as that's one of our sponsors.
Exactly.
Silver Eagle as well. So
Budweiser,
any of those, Budweiser Ultra, Michelob Ultra. So
okay.
Come thirsty and hungry.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm sure that's super fun. What if there's somebody that wants to help that doesn't want to go downtown? Can they just write you a check?
Well,
Sure. The checks go to scholarships. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to raise money for scholarships, for education, high school seniors, and again, like I said, trade schools. It's not just trade schools anymore. Now, in 2025, we are now expanding to first responder students.
Okay.
So San Antonio College, they have a first responder school for EMT and police and fire. So that's important as well. There's kind of a lane for everybody, so they can definitely donate.
And you're a public charity, a 501c3.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Contributions are tax deductible.
Exactly.
All right. Well, it's probably too late for the 2025 tax year. Unless they make an online contribution.
Before midnight tonight, I guess.
Because we're recording today, April 15th. We won't be on air until April 18th, so just be aware of that. But you can talk to your CPA about making your contribution tax deductible for next year. So I do want to ask you more about the story of Rey Feo and how this came to be. I'm not a native San Antonian, so we'll hear that and more. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. We're here talking about Fiesta and Rey Feo and education, here with Ronnie Suarez and George Torres. They're members of the organization, and so we're learning a lot today. Things that I didn't know. I didn't know there were different suit colors because I'm not from here. I'm from New Mexico.
Okay.
Did you grow up here?
I grew up here, born and raised.
I know you did too, George. But this is the Sinners and the Saints segment, so I like to talk about the sinners and the saints. Okay, this is new to you, Ronnie. I get the Sinners and the Saints segment because Martin Luther, the famous theologian who nailed his 95 Thesis to the church door, said we're all sinners and saints. We're born sinners, but because of what Jesus did for us, dying on the cross and rising again, we've been absolved from our sins. But because I'm a lawyer, I like to somehow tie it in with the law. So I like to talk about somebody that did something bad and somebody that's done something good. And with relation to Fiesta and Rey Feo, I wanted to ask you about safety downtown. Which one of you wants to talk about that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I mentioned is don't drink and drive, right? We know that. We've heard that message for many years.
And you said in the first segment, do rideshare.
Absolutely. So at all Fiesta events, I mean, we're talking about 120 different events that'll be going on next week. We talked about El Rey Fido. There's Nyosa, there's Oyster Bake, there's so many different events. But probably from that standpoint of where we can fall short of our perfection is certainly, where we make better decisions to not drink and drive. So let's not get to that point and do that and think ahead and rideshare. I'm sure that there's promotions that are out there through Uber and through, other rideshare programs. Even Via has a phenomenal program that John Gary has put together for taking to our events. So we certainly encourage that from our standpoint.
Right. And so how about at the events themselves? What's the name of the Rey Feo event for Fiesta?
It's called Fiesta de los Reyes.
And it's at Market
Square. Yes.
And so what can people expect as far as safety is concerned when they arrive?
We're going to have perimeter fencing all around the entire place. You cannot get in unless you go through 4 different entry points. So that's minimized to be able to not have as many people come in. There are 4 entry points. They're going to check them to make sure there's no metal coming in, no guns, knives, nothing like that. So they're going to have wands as well. There's a bag check. They're going to make sure that you cannot bring in certain things. Certain things are prohibited. Back in the old days, we could bring ice chests in and all kinds of other stuff, backpacks. Can't bring any of those things anymore. It's all prohibited now. So really, safety is number one for our organization and for this event. So,
awesome. So we're going to minimize the number of sinners that are sinning out there.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Well, and I think it all starts with where we have our kickoff event. I mean, it's at the historic San Fernando Cathedral. That's where Dr. Oliva will be crowned as Rey Feo 77. So we're doing it on Holy Ground. And we're being blessed to have this reign, which they actually did a blessing of the crown a couple of months ago. But this is the kickoff to Fiesta, and we definitely have that part of it because we're very much our city is centered in and around the main plaza there, which is right around the cathedral. So that brings everything back to who we are as a city, St. Anthony, and I'd be remiss to not mention how really the story of Rey Feo came about, because I think that's a good segue.
Well, let me ask you about that in just a second, because for the saint, I was thinking of people that already support Rey Feo organization. So is there anybody you want to give a shout out to, a thanks for being a great sponsor?
Well, Integrity Roofing is definitely one of them. So I want to give Ronnie a shout out right there, by all means.
There's so many
but
of
there's
them.
So many.
Well, you said Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola, Budweiser, which is the Silver Eagle beverage company. There's Gomez Law as well. There's
we got Lone Star National Bank. We got ABC3 Advisory Group, TXI Studios, The Last Straw, Reyes Automotive, Dominga, Copperhead, Comprehensive Home Health and Hospice, Synergy, Open MRI. Huge contributors. Real Raul Rodriguez, Falcon Bank. We're actually going to have a Rey Feo in Laredo next year. That's going to be something interesting to talk about as well. Central Electric. Valero, Rosario's, Burger Boy. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you one of these coins that Dr. Oliva was handing out that was sponsored by Burger Boy.
Okay.
And that's for a free burger.
Ignite the flame. Awesome. Thank you for the free burger.
Fabian's, yes.
Okay, well, we don't have to list everybody. You probably have them.
But these are some of our really big contributors who come back time and time again. And it does merit mentioning that. So we're very grateful for them.
Yeah.
We've got an organization of over 200 civic and business leaders in San Antonio that all support the cause. And so a lot of these are our members.
And this is all for scholarships, which is good for kids, because if we don't educate our children, then we're going to have to deal with uneducated people in our society. And we at least want them to learn something.
Absolutely. Those are the future leaders of our city. And so we do want to give those kids a chance, an opportunity that they may not be able to get in some cases.
Yeah, good point. Well, George, you mentioned the story of Rey Feo. So let's hear it.
Yeah, it dates back to medieval times in Spain, and it really was for the people that felt that they weren't acceptable by the royalty that was there, by the beautiful people, the aristocrats. The peasants, the common people wanted to do something for themselves. So they started a mockery of the royalty that was there. And they said, hey, well, look, we're not going to offend you because you're beautiful. We're ugly. So we're going to have our own. One of our own is called and reference it as the Ugly King or Rey Feo. So when we're talking about saints a minute ago in a town, Aguascalientes, was during the feast of Saint Mark. They actually had a festival that basically replicated that.
Okay.
Then in 1947, Lula Council 2 brought it over here as an initiative to try to create greater awareness for a cause, for scholarships. For multiple years, we had other Rey Feos, and then when Logan Stewart decided to really elevate that in the 80s, and that's really when it kind of got a huge presence within Fiesta. So Logan Stewart and then a number of different Rey Feos that had all been part of the Consejo organization.
And you said you remember when you were a little kid seeing Rey Feo come to your school.
I do remember the Sonny Melendres days, and then fast forward that a friend of the family, Antonio Flores Sr., during his reign in the 90s, and then I remember a good friend of mine, Dr. Reyes, in the early 2000s, and then personally my brother-in-law, Walter Cerna, in 2010, and that's when I really got involved with the organization and getting to know a lot of the members. I was fortunate enough to be on the longest reign ever with Thomas Aguillon as part of the white suit in that sense of it. And so we did that for a couple of years during the COVID timeframe. So that's what kind of extended our reign there for him.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, Ronnie, tell us some more about your involvement in the past and this year. What are you looking forward to?
So I was on a court in 2023. It was for John McFadden, Rey Feo 75. It was our Diamond Jubilee year. So I was in the court. I was wearing one of the white suits, and it was so much fun. I mean, just going out there to see the community and be able to see the kids at the school visits. I mean, we go see kids. We give them a great message, the elementary, middle school, and high schoolers.
What is the message?
Well, the message changes every year.
Oh,
but
okay.
Danny's message right now is pass the torch of education for a brighter path into the future.
Okay.
That's Rey Feo 77's message, and we all get behind it. So it's a great message.
Cool.
Yep.
Let's talk more about Fiesta, because I think that if people come to the event, then the organization will have more money to give out for scholarships. And Fiesta is going to start, I don't know, today,
Kicks off
tomorrow?
tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, it kicks off tomorrow.
So
for the listeners that are hearing on Saturday, it's on Thursday of this week.
okay.
That's right.
So
it's on the 16th.
It'll already be going on for them. And so
But our crowning is on the 17th, on Friday, at 5:30 at the Cathedral. It's open to the public, and then really it's the kickoff as well for Fiesta de los Reyes as well. Mm-hmm. So
And
bands
so-
will be coming out. It'll be an exciting.
We really want to see you there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take some pictures out there.
Well, I'm going to be going out of town on Saturday, but maybe I can go during the week sometime. I definitely want to try the food that you mentioned. I have a Facebook video where I make tacos. I call it Todd's Tacos. And I used to do like 30-minute long videos and talk about something going on. But Instagram told me that that's not helping. They don't share my videos with strangers unless the video is less than 3 minutes.
Ah, okay.
So I'm going to do a taco episode for George. We could probably even do it together if you want to.
Sure.
That'd be cool.
Some venison that I gave him from the last season.
Yeah.
And also, just for everybody to know, our event is 10 days long. So there's a lot of, NIOSA is probably 4 days, 5 days, I think, from Monday through Friday, or Tuesday through Friday. Oyster Bake is a one-day event. Fiesta de los Reyes is all 10 days of Fiesta.
The full length of Fiesta. Yeah.
Terrific.
If you can't make it out one day, know that there's plenty others. And again, Military Monday for our military.
Awesome. So you heard it here. If you're a member of the military, you get in free.
Get a special band, and you'll get some discounts for some of the vendors.
Okay, terrific. Well, this is Talk Law Radio, and we're talking about Fiesta and Rey Feo and education and philanthropy. When we come back, we'll be talking about legacy, so stay tuned. Are you 100% confident that no matter what happens in the financial markets, economy, or world events, you will achieve your financial goals? If not, we have a process to get your financial house in perfect order and keep it that way forever. Your financial future shouldn't be a guessing game. Planning, advice, organization, and accountability are deliverables you should expect. For over 35 years, Financial Planning HQ has been San Antonio's trusted partner for comprehensive written lifetime financial strategies. Steve and his team, including sons Joseph and Jacob, don't believe in a one-size-fits-all approach. Instead, they create a personalized financial roadmap for you based on what's important to you. As an independent registered investment advisor, they're not tied to any big corporation's products. They work for you, creating inspiring, intelligent financial strategies that put your interests first. Call Financial Planning HQ at 210-685-2722. That's 210-685-2722. What if you couldn't speak for yourself? A power of attorney ensures someone you trust can act on your behalf. I'm attorney Todd Marquardt. Let's put your plan in place now. Schedule your free consultation at marquardtlawfirm.com or call 210-530-4278. That's 210-530-4278. Do it before you die. Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then he gave Moses the 10 Commandments. And now we have municipal, state, and federal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws that might impact you without you knowing it. So tune in to Talk Law Radio every Saturday morning, Sunday afternoon, or anytime on podcasts or Facebook or YouTube while you're walking the dog, washing the dishes, or working in the garage. Now's the legacy segment.
And now, it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
Ronnie, you're new to the show, so I'm a lawyer, and we focus on business and estate law, including last wills, living trusts, and tax-protected inheritance plans. It's all about legacy. And so we like to ask our guest about legacy. George has been in the hot seat before, and he talked about his legacy. I remember it brought a tear to my eye. Now, you don't have to follow that, but I do want to ask you, legacy can be defined as, a favorite family heirloom that was passed down to you or that you want to pass down to those that come after you. Or it could be family values, or it could be a family business. So what does legacy mean to you?
Well, when I first hear the word legacy, to me, it's all about family, certainly. I've got a daughter and I've got 2 sons, and certainly they will continue my legacy as they go into future generations. And I have a business that I would love for them to get involved with someday. Actually, my daughter does work for me now. She graduated from Texas State, Madison, and she works at Integrity Roofing and Siding with me. And so my sons are following, and we'll see what their future holds. But I also want them to see that, when me and my wife are getting involved with different organizations and giving back to charities, giving our time and trying to help people, I want them to see that we're doing that and learn from that. And I want them to, in their lifetime, I want them to be able to do that as well.
Yeah, I think that's an important family value.
Yes.
You want your kids to continue giving back to the community.
Definitely.
And I've read a very long biography about you on the Rey Feo website, and it mentioned all of the organizations that you've been involved in.
Yes.
And so we thank you for doing that. Bringing the community together, I think, is important. And I think Fiesta does that. And certainly the event at Market Square, what do you call it, George?
Fiesta de los Reyes. Okay,
that's a little much for me to I'd have to practice that. Well, tell us about the book that you have, and that's somebody's legacy, because
absolutely.
Books and podcasts, that will live on forever. So the message that you just gave, your kids will get to listen to that after you're gone. They'll remember, Dad said we need to give back.
Right.
We need to be involved in the community.
So this was during Augie Cortez's reign, Rey Feo 73. And it was a wonderful book that depicts the story of Rey Feo. And not to go too much into it, but it was you can definitely find The Rise of Rey Feo, The Rise of El Rey Feo on Amazon. And we'll put up a link and some information on how to get that. But, I'd like to just kind of read a little bit on the back. It depicts a young man by the name of Carlos. Carlos told the crowd, "Let us designate one of our own as the village king." The villagers selected Carlos to speak for them. They cheered and proclaimed Carlos as El Rey Feo, or the Ugly King. Although Carlos was not ugly, his clothing did not compare to the lavish dress of the royal family. The villagers took a sheet and placed it around Carlos's neck. Carlos had a royal cape. His younger sister put a crown of flowers around his head, and this became his royal crown. When we say this, when we're visiting students, there's a lot of our students that we want to make sure that that we are the people's king representation. We are not there to be anything other than we are like the common folk. We are like everybody else, in the community, and we want to support and uplift them. And that's the purpose of the scholarships, to ask the students out there who wants to be Rey Feo. And many of them are always raising their hands, and they can be Rey Feo too. So we want them, all our listeners, to know that, especially our younger generations. But what's the beautiful thing about it is, so many students over the years, you asking me about me having recollection of Rey Feo, we've had so many scholarship recipients that have come to us and said, thank you. Part of our membership Some of our members have actually received it. Some civic leaders have received it as well. So it's a beautiful thing to see that full circle.
Yeah, that's a wonderful legacy. The organization has its own legacy.
Yes.
And so you're like a steward of this legacy now, and you want to see it continue and prosper and give more to more students so that they can have opportunity to get training and education. So why don't you talk about that again, just in case somebody's jumping in the car and hasn't heard what we talked about before?
Well, we talk about the big gap. We want to try to close that gap because we do have a lot of students that are applying for this scholarship, but we have given out last year 246 scholarships out of 1,100. Those numbers are like 1 in 6.
Yeah.
So what do we need? We need to raise more money for these scholarships. And so that's the gap that we're really trying to close. And every year as we have more awareness out in the community, we're visiting schools and we're doing, community involvement, visiting senior citizen homes and hospitals, et cetera, we're bringing great awareness to our organization. And so we're going to bring in more scholarship applicants. So that's why we really need to step up and try to raise more money so we can fill that need.
Right. The more popular you get, the more there's going to be a need for funds.
Exactly.
And think about the compound of that, though. So we're talking 200 students that are recipients of that, 200 plus. Now, that's for a 4-year for 4 years.
Oh,
so it's
really?
2,000 for 4 years, contingent upon them meeting their grades and meeting the particular standards that we have in place. So that's compounding the year after that, the year after that, the year after that, on new students that are perpetually going into that.
Right.
So that's our limitation there, and that's why we need more fundraising.
We continue renewing every year.
Right.
As long as they meet the standards, we continue renewing.
Right. So in order to give to another student, a new student, you need more funds. And a fun way to contribute to the organization is to go to the Fiesta event, right?
Fiesta de los Reyes, 10-day Fiesta event that starts on Friday.
Right. And there's food, there's drinks. What else? Is there anything else for kids? Are there
There's
games?
lots of music. There's stages with all kinds of music, so that's great. There's actually, last year we had an area for the kids. It was kind of a little play area. So I don't know if we're going to have that again this year, but yeah, that's kids bring the kids, bring the whole family. I mean, everybody loves to eat great food.
Right.
There's all kinds of, sodas and, everything. The aguas frescas, all that stuff. It's fun for all.
Yeah, sounds like fun. George, you've been on the show before, but I'd like for you to give us some more insight into your business, your involvement in the community, especially Rey Feo. What's on your mind?
Well, I'd like to give you one of our 20th anniversary Fiesta medals for River City Home Care.
River City. Yep. George has this new mascot. What do you call him?
It's Rio, which is river in Spanish, and it really is exactly who we are. It's a mascot of a heart, and because the care that we provide comes from the heart. It's compassionate care that we want to be a piece of. We want to be a part of our client's family, an extension of their family.
Well, explain in a little more detail. We know what roofing and siding is because that's something we can hold and touch. But just in a minute or two, describe what is the service that River City Home Care can provide.
Well, we provide the very basic but instrumental support that one might need when we're unable to provide or to conduct our own activities of daily living, when one can't bathe themselves or dress themselves or feed themselves, or they suffer from a cognitive impairment, they can't get out of a chair without some help and support from somebody. Our staff helps to provide that support from a dignified manner, helping them maintain their independence within their home rather than hindering it, helping them stay home longer than going into a facility, because let's face it, there's no place like home.
That's right. And so your staff can be hired to go to an older person or somebody with disabilities, their house, and help them with those activities of daily living.
Absolutely.
So that they can stay home and not have to go to assisted living or nursing home,
Yes,
that
sir.
kind of thing. And so you have caregivers that have gone through background checks and who are trained and
Absolutely. And as I was sharing that we're, coming our 20th anniversary, I've got staff that, administrative staff that's been with me since inception. I've got caregivers that are over a decade that have been with us. Our families love them. We love them. They're part of our family. Again, we want to become an extension of family. They are licensed, bonded, insured through us. We have an office in San Antonio and an office in Corpus Christi. I'm so proud of my staff. It really, really, it's the culture in which I've been able to surround myself with as that legacy that we were discussing. They will continue on, and God willing, my son will be able to get involved, or my daughter, at least have that option. Or really any members of our administrative staff. We like to promote from within, and we've seen just such great development from so many of our staff members. Administratively, many of them have come from the caregiver role and have evolved and emerged to some fantastic leadership. So
thank you so much for pulling this together and getting Ronnie Suarez with Integrity Roofing and Siding to come. Why don't you say in a sentence or two, what was the mission this year that Rey Feo has that you said you give the message to the kids?
Oh, for Dr. Oliva.
Yeah.
He's Rey Feo 77. It's pass the torch on for a brighter path of education in the future.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Can I give you one of my medals?
Yes.
Okay. This is our Integrity Roof. Also 20 years, just like George.
Okay.
So we have something in common, George.
Thank you, guys.
And there's one of our Consejo, if you can say Consejo.
Consejo.
That's
the Rey Feo Consejo.
Pretty good, pretty close.
Consejo.
You did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
Thanks
for
very much.
having us. It's a pleasure.
It was fun.
Appreciate it. Had a great time.